We had a question from a user named Miss Brunette Girl. Hi, Miss Brunette Girl. And she asked, what are the stats on innocent people on death row, and has there been someone killed that was later found to be innocent? What have you come across with this issue?
Well, so there's many statistics about exonerees and about people who were removed from death row. I believe the number stands at 138 right now. Most recently, it was Anthony Graves in Texas, a notorious wrongful conviction state, who was exonerated last year. Now, to the question of innocent people who are currently on, or who have been executed and later found to have been innocent, the most compelling case in recent memory is the case of Cameron Todd Willingham, also in Texas. It's a case that was written about thoroughly in the New Yorker a few years back by David Grant, who's this great investigative reporter. Now, a lot of journalists had looked into this case, and a lot of activists have been arguing for years that Cameron Todd Willingham was an innocent man. He was accused of setting a fire in this small town of Corsicana, Texas, and the fire killed his young daughters. Basically, the way that it played out, he was seen at first as this grieving father who was hysterical about the fact that his daughters had died in this fire. And then eventually prosecutors decided, or law enforcement decided, that his behavior had actually been a bit suspicious and that he didn't seem to be panicked and grieving enough as his daughters, died in these flames. And the neighbors started to sort of turn against him and say, well, he wasn't the most trustworthy guy. He was kind of violent, had a violent temper. He had tattoos. He listened to certain kinds of music. And bit by bit, he came to be seen as capable of perpetrating this horrible crime. And the tragedy of that case is that once he was on death row and as he faced execution, forensics experts, or rather fire experts who really know arson, revisited and even recreated the circumstances that led to these conclusions that this was an arson case, that he himself had set fire to this house, and concluded that it was based basically on junk science. Arson science is hardly an exact science. We've come to learn in part thanks to this case, and basically the primary case that was created against him was thoroughly discredited by a number of journalists and especially a number of fire experts. Now, Cameron Todd Willingham was executed anyway, and now what's happened is that the state of Texas has created a commission to look into the possibility that he was innocent, and Governor Rick Perry, who has never met a death row prisoner he didn't want to execute, has done everything in his power to stall this investigation, including removing the certain members from the commission and replacing them with political allies of his own. But the reality is that in this case, it really looks like Cameron Todd Willingham was innocent, and it really looks like the truth will eventually come out. That's an individual case. There are many other cases where prisoners were executed who had been in the face of very compelling innocence claims, but there's not really statistics to that effect because it's never been proven. It's so hard to prove after the fact. Death penalty abolitionists often say, if there was a smoking gun, if we could prove beyond a doubt that somebody who was innocent had been executed, that would be a game changer. But the Cameron Todd Willingham case comes as close, and it hasn't been the kind of game changer, certainly in Texas, that it should be. And there's one other case I just wanted to bring up, if you don't mind, the case, just to put a name out there that your viewers might hear about in coming weeks. This is a man named Larry Swearingen, also in Texas, who faced execution. He was facing execution on the 18th of August, and he just received a stay of execution based on, I believe, on potential innocence claims. So it stands to reason. We've exonerated or released 138 death row prisoners who were innocent. It stands to reason that there is a very high possibility that we have executed innocent people in this country.